Hey kiddos. So today we're going to be reading chapter 4 of our Among the Hidden book. And in the last chapter, chapter 3, we learned that Luke is pretty much confined to his room now since the development is happening out in their woods, is what he called it, because they had to sell the land to the government. And he has learned that in the roof of his attic, so his attic is like this, so when he walks, it's kind of like that, a triangle, that he can see outside in some parts. It's like little hole seams or whatever. He can see outside and see the work that's going on. They can't see him, of course, but he can peer out if he gets, on a box and he can stare outside. While he's doing this, he's seeing people, he's never seen before. He has seen in his life his mom and his dad, his brothers, and then he says in the story a tramp. And what that means is it's a person who is kind of like a homeless type person who's kind of going around looking for food. And so that guy comes into his house at one point a couple of years ago. But so he's never seen these people before. Some of the questions I've gotten over the years from students would be like, well, hasn't he seen people on TV? No, he hasn't, because his mom and dad wouldn't let him watch TV. There are they kind of are suspicious or have superstitions that the government can see them through the TV. Or if, they used a computer, the government could detect them through the computer. It would be like through a webcam or anything like that. And it's kind of like how the government has just really scared them into believing that they could be found out, even they really can't. So Luke's never watched TV. He's seen it sitting in the living room, but it's there. Also remember that Luke's family is very poor, and things like internet and computers and TV are not up to date and brand new. The TV they have is this big old huge TV from a long time ago. The computer they have is not a new computer. His dad just does some farm work on it. I don't even think they have internet. They do listen to the radio quite a bit. But things like batteries, they don't have batteries. That's a thing that's, you got to be wealthy to have things like that. So think about this future world where, people don't really have the things that we normally would have, the things that we're used to. So chapter 4. Luke found out what Mother meant a few days later when he came down for breakfast. As usual, he opened the door from the back stairs to the kitchen only a crack. He could remember barely a handful of times in his entire life when someone had dropped by before breakfast. And each time Mother had managed to send Matthew or Mark up to warn Luke to stay out of sight. But he always checked. Today he could see Dad and Matthew and Mark at the table and knew from the sound of frying bacon that Mother must be at the stove. Are the shades closed? He called softly. Mother opened the door to the stairs. Luke started to step into the kitchen, but she put out her arm to keep him back. She handed him a plate full of scrambled eggs and bacon. Luke, honey, can you eat sitting on the bottom step there? What? Luke asked. Mother looked beseechingly over her shoulder. Dad thinks, it's not safe anymore to have you in the kitchen. You can still eat with us and talk to us and all, but you'll be over here. She waved her hand toward the stairs behind Luke. But with the shades pulled, Luke started. One of those workers asked me yesterday, hey, farmer, you got air conditioning in that house of yours? Dad said from the table. He didn't turn around. He didn't seem to want to look at Luke. We keep the shades pulled. Hot day like today, people get suspicious. This way is safer. I'm sorry. So Luke's family's so poor they don't even have air conditioning. They have to open windows. And then Dad did turn around and glance at Luke once. Luke tried to keep from looking upset. So what'd you tell him? Matthew asked, as if the worker's question was only a matter of curiosity. Told him, of course we don't have air conditioning. Farming doesn't make nobody a millionaire. Dad took a long sip of coffee. Okay, Luke? Mother asked. Yes, he mumbled. He took the plate of eggs and bacon, but it didn't look good to him now. He knew every bite he ate would stick in his throat. He sat down on the step out of sight of both kitchen windows. We'll leave the door open, Mother said. She hovered over him, as if unwilling to return to the stove. This isn't too much different, is it? Mother, Dad said wearingly. Through the open windows, Luke could hear the rumble of several trucks and cars. The workers had arrived for the day. He knew from watching through the vent the past few days that the caravan of vehicles came up the road like a parade. The cars would peel off to the side and unload the nicer dressed men. The more rugged vehicles pulled on into the muddiest sections, and the people inside would scatter to the bulldozers and backhoes that had been left outside overnight. But the vehicles barely had time to get cold because the workers were there now from sunup to sundown. Someone was in a hurry for them to finish. Luke, I'm sorry, Mother said, and scurried back to the stove. She loaded a plate for herself, then sat down at the table. Beside Luke's usual spot, his chair wasn't even in the kitchen anymore. For a while, Luke watched Dad, Mother, Matthew, and Mark eating in silence. A complete family of four. Once he cleared his throat, ready to protest again. You can't do this, it's not fair. But then he choked back his words, unspoken. They were only trying to protect him. What could he do? Resolutely, Luke stuck his fork in the pile of scrambled eggs on his plate and took a bite. He ate the whole plateful of food without tasting any of it. That was chapter 4, guys. Continue on for chapter 5.